Welcome back. This is Hope at Dawn, right here at Hope TV, where you look and you live. It is 11 minutes past 8 a.m. and it's a Tuesday. And of course, being a Tuesday, we told you earlier, we have our One Day at a Time segment. And this is a segment where we give people an opportunity to come and share their testimonies of what the Lord has done for them and what He continues to do for them each and every day. And this morning, we are privileged, honored to host and to have in studio Brenda Betty Kiema. She is our guest this morning, and we are talking about the passion for disability inclusion. And so you can get in touch with us on WhatsApp 0708222323 and also across all our social media platforms.
Yes, and it's time for us to usher in our beautiful guest with a beautiful smile.
Yep.
She just came in here and the whole place is just radiating. So, karibu sana, Brenda Betty. Please do introduce yourself. Tell us something about you.
Thank you very much.
Yes.
I'm happy to be here. It's the
Karibu.
first time to be at the Hope TV.
Oh,
So I was equally
karibu.
excited and I knew the morning will be good.
Yes.
I'm this kind of a person who say today has to look nice.
Wow.
I like
So my name is Brenda Betty Kiema. I work at Tangaza University, Disability Inclusion Officer, and I'm educated.
Wow.
As a person with disability. I got polio, and that's why I'm using the assistive device. Yes.
All right. If we, first of all, we can get to know your upbringing, you know.
Well, it's an interesting story, but I'll do what we call fast forward. I was born in Kitui, in a very small village. And those are very many years ago. The issue of vaccination was not there. So I'm told, because I've never seen myself walk, that I got polio at a very early age. And my parents thought it was maybe a pneumonia or something that is affecting mobility. But after I was in the hospital for close to 2 months, and I was not recovering, and my limbs were becoming weak, then they had now to consult. After that, they were told it's polio, and there's nothing that can change. It was bad news for them. But my mom, let me stick to my mother, she took it positively. My dad didn't like it. And that is the day when things changed in that home. Because one parent is for it, the other one, he's against it. And you see, for these old guys, like my father, he passed on many years ago. For him, he had to remain relevant in the community. And there is no way you could be having a child with disability and you're here telling us how we should run the leadership, how we should do ABCD. So he also started experiencing kind of a discrimination. And for him, it was a no, as in, this child cannot be the reason for. So they had to look for a quick solution. And the quick solution was, I was either to be moved out of that home, or at that early age, around 3, 4, I was supposed to be taken to a boarding school so that I create that space for them. And I remember very well, one time I had my parents argue about that. And my mom had a firm stance. She's a teacher. She said, this child, of course, I had already adjusted to the polio space. So I'm on calipers and crutches. But there's something that it's so new in that home, and they don't know what to do. And you see, in our society, that which you do not understand, you want to stay far away from it. Even you don't even to try and see whether we can do something. And things took a different turn. I was taken to a boarding school, and I was there all through. Anytime I come home, you could see the environment is not good.
Yeah.
At one point, I could go to my maternal grandma, and that's how I grew up. This is a bit interesting.
Yeah.
My late dad, he thought polio or disability is contagious. So most of the time, he didn't want me to interact with my siblings. But he was not like a rich man who will try and separate us.
Yeah.
So by the end of the day, we are sleeping in the same room. But you could see his behavior was making my siblings also feel like, this is not the right thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
But somehow, God's grace was enough. That's why I'm here today.
Wow. And you have this radiant smile.
I tell you, yeah. Yeah.
You know, and having gone through all this, I mean, what was school like though? You know, were there challenges also when you got to boarding school at such a young age? Was
Yeah.
there any kind of maybe bullying you went through?
Not really. This school was a special school. Portrees Primary School for the physically handicapped. It was a school, and it was also like an assessment center for them to keep on checking how you're improving. And every Wednesday, we were going for the physio. So the school was more friendlier than home.
Yeah.
But now, when I went to secondary school, because that is the time when the government said they are introducing integration, you have to go to a regular school. That was so hard for me because I was supposed to live like any other person. I was on crutches, I was on calipers, I was taken to a school in rural home. There's water scarcity. The school, you know, the formation in our society has no space for a person with disabilities.
That's true.
Teachers could not understand that I cannot run. You're expected to move from one class to the other one. You're expected to be at this place at this time.
Yeah.
You know, our secondary schools, they are big. The dormitory is like 500 meters or a kilometer away from class.
Yeah. Yeah.
But they expect you to run. But even with that, the school fee was a problem. Because remember, my dad was not for this story.
Yeah.
So he cannot nurture what he's looking at it as a curse, as if we've offended God, as an issue.
Yeah.
And I don't blame him. That's how he was brought up.
Yeah.
And that was his worldview. Because much later, he changed. And things became okay.
Yeah.
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 So that was my schooling. But when I joined, in between joining the university and after Form 4, I stayed for 10 years at home, doing nothing.
10 years.
10 years. And it was not a worry for anyone.
Yeah.
It's not a problem because you cannot add value. And my late grandma used to call me in Kikamba, Mweyandi, meaning unproductive consumer. Yes. But I think God had prepared me in a manner that these words are not affecting me.
Yeah.
Because I was supposed to drift into a depression. I didn't.
Yeah, because
I was
I'm wondering
supposed to be-
How are you coping with all this, the environment,
Yeah.
the words that were being thrown on you?
And they were not good.
Yeah.
Because if today I call you unproductive
Yeah.
consumer, and you sit down and think about it, you will never be happy. But for me, I was like, oh, you have right to your opinion. That's what you think.
No, that's grace.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's grace.
That's grace, because I mean, a normal situation, it would be like even feeling like, was I a mistake?
Yeah.
You know, why did God create me this way? And
Yeah.
did you ever have such questions, you know, towards God?
I did, and I think my breakthrough came immediately after Form 4, when I sat and asked myself so many questions. How comes I got this polio? What happened to me? Why is it that people don't like me?
Yeah.
it's not me. I mean, it happened. Then I decided, let me have a meeting with myself. Brenda, look at this. This is how things are. You're experiencing a lot of discrimination, a lot of prejudices, and the environment is hostile. As in, it's like you don't belong, but do this. Just create your space. Integrate yourself. Those who don't like you, don't bother about them. Those who like you, fine, let's move on.
Yeah.
And that's how I managed to come through. I have never been cancelled, even a day. So I had one strategy of, if you tell me something that is supposed to break me, it will come through this ear and goes through the other. But if it's something positive, I'll take it and work on it. Yes.
We all need that.
Yeah, yeah.
Sometimes we do. Wow. I mean, yours is a story of you. God carrying you through that. And how was now getting to the university? You know, what even led to you now getting into the
Now,
university?
this is also another interesting part. I'm a Catholic. So a priest called Francesco Pieli, he somehow came to the village. He's an Italian. And we bumped into each other. And he developed a lot of interest. Like, what are you doing? Why are you here? Did you go to school? You know, these Muzungu questions. A lot of curiosity. I explained to him, and he said, let me go, I'll come for you. And I remained hopeful. And he came. And that's how I left home. Came to Nairobi. I was hosted at the Komboni Missionaries. He took me to college. And because I knew my life to change, I must be highly educated. I can't do anything else. I can't go for the vibaruas to dig or become a house girl or what. So I knew my life is tagged on education. I worked so hard. He was so proud. He took me to do a BA in social transformation, sustainable development. I graduated with a first class.
Wow.
And he was so excited. Immediately, that was in 2014, he told me, now in January, you're in Masters. I joined Masters. 18 months, Masters was gone. And because it's square, they ranked them another first class. And I was like, oh, Brenda, you're good. Even I discovered I'm good.
Yeah.
But you see, I was very positive on everything.
Yeah, yeah.
And now I'm at the level of writing my proposal, research proposal for the PhD. I'm doing social transformation, governance. But my niche is on disability space. That's where I am. Yes.
Wow.
Yes.
That is so amazing.
Yes.
Wow. You know, I'm encouraged, as
So
Beatrice has
encouraged.
indicated, just being a story of grace, because many people are really bogged down when they are placed there. They say, oh, this is my grace. I can't really, this is my destiny. You know, but that was not you.
Yes. 10 years, it's like it was a period of discovering yourself and making a decision of the way forward from where you are. I tell my students, you need to plan your life. Nobody will plan it for you. Nobody will come through. And especially if you're poor, you're a person with disability, you're a woman. I mean, you have so many barriers. But one, you need to have an inward drive. What do I want to be? And the moment you know what you want to be, then work towards that. Something funny happened to me. When I came to Nairobi, this man, this gender.
This gender.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Yes.
One just came to me.
Yeah.
Remember, I was so naive. I'm from the village.
Come to the city.
I'm in the city.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And this guy shows up speaking Queen's English. telling me how he'll solve my problems.
Where?
Character development.
Guess what happened?
Yeah.
Yes, it happened.
Where?
A baby shows up, and the guy walks away.
Oh.
And I thank God for this priest. He looked at me as his own child. He said, don't worry about that. Things happen.
Wow.
That was God said.
Yes.
I tell you.
God
Now I
said.
have a baby. He got me a job. Same time I'm a student. And everything fell in place. I remember there were some nights I could cry, but I'm this kind of a person, I will not cry as you're looking at me. I'll go cry in the toilet, come back with a brave face.
Yeah, yeah.
And if you try to put me down, I'll tell you off. But deep inside, I'm totally broken.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yes.
I mean, these are like life skills, if you ask me, because even that maintaining of a positive attitude,
Yeah.
because I think that is what brings people down, not having a positive. It's like hope deferred makes the heart sick.
Yes.
So when you have no hope and you're hopeless, you can't even progress at all. But, you know, what would you say is a word of, I know we usually ask this towards the end, but I know someone is watching and they're asking themselves, how do I have this positive attitude when every situation around me is unfavorable? How do you even do it? How do you get to that point?
The environment forms you, and you have to make a decision.
Right.
You can decide to stay in your house, cry all through. People sympathize with you with zero help. You can decide like the lepers. If I stay here, we will die.
Yeah.
If I go out there, I'll still die.
Yeah.
Anyway, let me take the higher risk.
Yeah.
And you get out there.
Yeah.
So that's what I did. I couldn't share my life story because at one time I could break, but it got to a time it became fun. I laugh once in a while when I tell people I came to Nairobi with 3 dresses and 2 number 1. So you really have to make sure they are drying, you know, number 1,
Yeah.
so that
Yeah.
if you are working and you have 3 dresses, you must make sure when you come from work, you clean this one.
Yeah.
And I was very happy. 1, I have a job. 2, I'm kind of being accepted. Not everybody was accepting.
Yeah.
We persons with disability, when we go for an interview, a job interview, the first thing the interviewers see, it's your disability. Like now, I can apply for a job. You look at my CV, you'll be like, wow, we need this person.
Yeah.
You call me for an interview, I show up dancing, with my walking stick and all that. You don't think I have the competence, I have the skills, I have the knowledge of the position. You have seen the disability. And for that reason, you don't give me a job. But it's not my legs that are working.
No.
Yeah.
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 Yes, so that's our life.
Yeah.
Yes.
And I love
So that person who is asking how you can develop this, you need always to have what we call self-talk, because the environment is hostile. And when you're leaving the house, pray. And when we started, I always say, today has to be nice. Today has to look good.
Yeah.
So that attitude, the day will be good. Yeah,
so the key is in the attitude.
the attitude.
And you know, I also love your story of contentment, because even, you know, you mentioning the fact that you have these 3 dresses and you're literally like, let me look at what I'm going to be grateful for. So maybe I just want you to camp on that point about no matter the situation around you,
Yes.
look for that one thing to be grateful. How
Yes.
has it impacted your life even now?
Exactly. You need to appreciate what you have.
Yeah.
Because this is an interesting example. Those days when now everybody could look at me like unproductive consumer, I could only be given 1 meal. But I could appreciate. Back in our village, we Kambas, we eat cassava from where I come from. So sometimes you could lack a meal, so you'll go to the farm, dig out one, chew it, and the day is over, and you're still smiling. Yes, but it was okay with me. Yes.
Yeah, and somehow you maneuvered through it. That's a story of grace.
But it needs a lot of grace. It needs
Yeah.
it needs you to be positive about life, and you need to believe that at the end of the tunnel there will be light. So just forge towards that light,
Yeah.
and then when the light comes, boom, life changes. Like now, I'm a very happy person.
Yes, you are.
Yes,
I mean,
yes.
and it's contagious, even as you move into this
Yeah.
room, it's very, very much contagious. And of course, I see it's past, so we're going to be taking a very short break. But of course, when we come back, we'll now be talking about when you decided, let me now pursue how I can actually help other people.
Oh yes.
So to our viewers, we are having this beautiful conversation and it's live on YouTube as well. So you can get in touch with us. If you have any questions, comments, words of encouragement, you can also send them our way. So we will take a short break and we will be back in a few.
I've actually been trying to find a balance. It's been really tough and hectic, but everyone says once you get a hang of it, becomes better, and I don't know, but I'm hoping to find a balance soon because it's really been hectic. But you've been in the job industry for a long time, so I think you would know better. Sindio?
Huh? What time is it? I need to catch up on Leadership Forum. Did they have a radio here? Never mind. I brought my own.
No way. You can't be serious. Wait, why do you have a radio and you can just catch up with the shows on Hope FM podcast?
Really? Even Meet of the One?
I mean, you can find them on whatever platform, name it. AfriPods, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, you name it.
But I'm not subscribed on any of them.
So no worries. You can just check out the latest episodes on hopemediakenya.org.
You can now listen to select Hope FM programs on your favorite podcast streaming platform or directly on our website, www.hopemediakenya.org. Listen and live.
Rafiki soul is the promise of a hand that reaches and goes beyond what angaza tumaini kote. I'm forever grateful. Ninashukuru ukarimu, ukarimu. I'm forever grateful. Ninashukuru ukarimu, ukarimu. Rafiki soul is a promise of a hand that reaches and goes beyond watangaza tumaini kote. I'm forever grateful. Ninashukuru ukarimu, ukarimu. I'm forever grateful. Ninashukuru ukarimu, ukarimu.
Friends
is Hope TV, where you look and you live. Such an inspiring story we have this morning. And,
Yes.
you know, when she came in, there was, you know, light, there was life.
Yeah.
And that has continued all through
Yes.
our conversation this morning. And even as we were having it off air, that grace, you know, that things are not really working out
Yeah.
well, but still she found the reason to keep on keeping on.
That's
and we
true.
are hosting this morning Brenda Kiema, and she is here to talk about her passion for disability
Yes.
inclusion. And welcome back, Brenda. And we can pick it up from now, when through university and all, and we can say you conquered. You came, you saw, and you conquered.
And still conquering.
And still conquering even now.
Yeah.
So where did this passion to help others now develop,
Come in.
and how did it come in?
Well, it came from my own life experience. One thing I knew was, if nobody will hold the hand of a person with disability, that person will suffer all through. And when I graduated with masters, my thesis was on accessibility to public transport, because that was a nightmare for me. And I also thought accessibility to education. And I developed what we call a problem tree. Remember that time, now I can think,
Yeah.
I'm in the space of the elites. And I did a concept. I presented it to our university principal.
Yeah.
I told him, we persons with disability, we need to belong. In class, in this environment, and we need to be also appreciated. And so, where I am, Tangaza University, we celebrate Tangaza Day. I requested him to give me 2 to 3 minutes. And my presentation was on different, therefore unequal. I'm different. I cannot access the buildings. I'm different.
Yeah.
I cannot access cafeteria. I'm different, meaning like I'm visually impaired. I cannot access the materials in the library.
Yeah.
A lot needs to be done. I'm different, I'm deaf. I cannot communicate. Therefore, I'm different. That was the turning speech for the university.
Wow.
And I defined disability inclusion in a different way, enabling a person with disability to live a near normal. Near normal meaning I have impairment,
Yeah.
so I cannot live like any other person.
Yes.
But I need to be a little bit close to normalcy. Remove all the barriers.
Yeah.
I will not ask for anyone to hold my hand. Make sure the library materials are accessible. Make sure public transport is accessible.
Yeah.
Just create a conducive environment. And that's what we call inclusion.
Yeah.
I traveled to Netherlands. It was so easy to survive there.
Yeah.
Could access the transport, everything, even the deaf. When the blind, when they want to cross the road, you could hear a bell at the traffic lights.
Wow.
It tells you it's clear. You can walk.
Wow.
Here, my goodness, you can be hit by a car.
Yeah.
When I used to go to Westlands before I bought the car, crossing that Wayaki Road to access the services from National Council, it was almost a nightmare. You could wait for close to 30 minutes. So these are things that really push me to be like, we need to be accessible.
Yeah. Yeah.
Persons with disability, let me shock you. A report I read from Commission for University Education for the last 54 years, the enrollment and completion
Yeah.
of a person with disability at university, it is capped at 1.6%. Isn't that a problem?
It is, yeah.
And now my thesis is on that.
Yeah.
The question is why?
Yeah.
Why? What is happening? So we will have all the policies and everything,
Yeah.
but what is happening on the
On
ground?
the ground, which is the most important.
That is the most
Yeah.
important.
Yeah.
The attitude of people. It contributes a lot.
A lot.
Yes.
And what was the reception like? You know, being able to voice out, you know, these words, and you know, just being able to articulate the need that is actually there.
They kept quiet as if I've done an announcement of a death of a senior person in the country, because the place went quiet. Nobody said anything.
Yeah.
It's like we were having a moment of silence.
Yeah.
But immediately after that,
Yeah.
we started now this conversation. And I promised the university one thing. I
Yeah.
said, I can solicit or mobilize resources. But on one condition, I become the inclusion officer. And it happened. I applied for a grant, which we got. And then we started a disability inclusion office, and I became the officer. And so, because I've just jumped in an office,
Yeah.
now you need to define it.
Yeah.
You must have a JD, eh?
Yes.
Why are you there?
You need to justify.
Yes, you need to justify. So I came up with like trainings for the faculty members on inclusive practices, how they can even use the universal design for learning. You don't have to test all of us in the same way. There are people, when they see exam, they panic.
Yeah.
Those closed book, give them an open one. You can give them a takeaway. You can do an oral exam. You know, persons with disability have different challenges. But today, as I'm seated here, Tangaza is inclusive. The lecturers, we gave them close to 19 trainings. We have what we call ability concerts to show our students that this is possible. This year, the beginning of this year, through the university, I applied for another grant. And it was just to be used internally. But I spoke to the university to allow us even to bring 4 more universities on board.
Wow.
So we have 4 universities where we are doing trainings for the faculty members, student joint activities. You know, we are coming up with the disability inclusion manual. So we are really on it. And it's my passion. I love it.
Yeah.
I can talk about disability.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes. Wow. That is beautiful.
Yes.
Very, very beautiful.
Because as you said,
Yeah.
it's worrying, and in terms of the completion of those
Yes.
who are finishing
Yes.
universities, but also the most important thing which you said earlier is that your way out is through education.
Yes.
So if you're hampered, then you're doomed.
Yes.
Yeah.
Persons with disability should be given education.
Yeah.
Actually, if I was the president of this country, I would give them 100% free education.
Yeah.
Because one, they're struggling with medication. They're struggling even with accessibility and navigating.
Yeah.
In class, they're experiencing this discrimination from the students even to the lecturers. At home, they don't belong. This is one person who is suffering.
Yeah.
Why don't you just facilitate and get them to a space? Like for me, I understand the policies. I can engage a governance conversation. But we are very few.
Yeah.
Like in that same report, they were talking of 672 in public and 112 in private. We're talking of 4.7 million right now. 79% they're in the village. What are they doing? And we, persons with disability, were never born to become carpenters or dressmakers
Yeah.
Yeah.
or people to sell mali-mali. I mean, we need to belong to the space, even
Yeah.
to that table of decision making.
Yeah.
That is true.
And the moment we are there, then they will hear us. This is a bit sad. Disability is always an afterthought. Even when an organization or a university or even in the government, when they are planning all these, they're like, oh, we forgot about
By
it.
the way, yeah.
By the way,
So they want to do it to fulfill the requirements, but not because they need it.
I understand.
I
Yeah.
sit in the county education board, and I told the chair, any day you will sign that I'm absent with apology, you will have to explain to me what I was doing to be absent with apology. I'm always there
yeah.
because I need to speak, I need to push this wheel of inclusion.
Wow.
Yes.
That is commitment, it is passion, and it's almost like, God gives you the grace for your place. Whatever he gives you the grace equated to that. So you're able to literally go through it, and now you're helping other people. And maybe you've touched on the government, and maybe just a word. What do you think the government should do? How would you like to see the government, participating in ensuring that people with disabilities, are included?
Well, the government has done its part, and I know there are those who not want to hear that.
Yeah.
But the government has done its part by giving us an organ, which is called the National Council for Persons with Disability. It was enacted in the parliament. And their role is to create awareness, to be the people to speak on behalf of persons with disability. But now, the problem is there. It's not the government.
The government.
How are they carrying out the mandate?
Yeah.
That's a big question. All persons with disability in this country, they cry over the card that we are supposed to be given, registration. It takes forever. They cry about a tax exemption because like now, my tax exemption will expire in December. But you see, you went to the hospital in January for another medical review, and the report will come out possibly in June, July, August.
Wow.
It takes a longer time. But the big question I have for the government, I've been like this since I was born.
Yeah. Yeah.
There's no change that could take place. So why should I keep on going back to the hospital
Renewal.
for them to confirm that I'm a person with disability? Even when
Still.
I'm walking through that room, you can see I am. And you still want to confirm. You ask me
Yeah.
a question. You have the old reports confirming I am. Why can't they say, Brenda is a permanent person with disability?
Yeah.
So this tax exemption, it's permanent. This tax, those kind of things.
Yeah. To make it more seamless.
So that has to be
Yeah.
a conversation. Then disability inclusion should become a national agenda. Even those in the church,
Yeah.
services should be inclusive.
Yes.
Allow persons with disability to join choir. If I'm on a wheelchair and you people have another style of dancing, allow me to enjoy when I'm
Yeah.
seated there.
Yeah.
Yes.
Don't look at me as an outcast.
No.
I'm not. I'm a child of God.
Amen.
Amen.
Yes.
Yes.
Amen.
That's for
So that's how
sure.
it's supposed to be.
Yes.
But the government did their part, and it is now the National Council
The council.
that has to fulfill
Yeah.
the mandate of the government. Yes.
Yeah.
That's good.
Because listening to you, Brenda, and also looking at the bigger picture and what's happening, a lot is happening, especially in the villages.
Yeah.
Because that is where even this discrimination, the pain,
Yeah.
that is where it is
Yes.
all happening
And 79% are there,
in the village.
suffering in the
In the
village.
village.
So many.
They are hidden because
And-
that is where people,
It's because of our social upbringing and the formation
yeah.
Yeah.
and the environment. If even in the 21st century, parents are hiding their children.
That's
They-
true.
They feel like, no,
Yeah.
I cannot I cannot hang out with this kind of a child. But you should be proud because this could be your blessing.
That's true.
Blessings could come through this child who has disability. Your life could change.
Yeah.
For many, it has. For me, I say my disability is my blessings. It has gotten me to spaces. Possibly, if I was walking, I would not be in those spaces. Tonight, I'll be having a meeting with a professor from University College of London, but it's on disability. How can we get our world, the globe, inclusive?
Yeah.
It is not just in Kenya or Africa where persons with disability are excluded. It's all over.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so this has to become a national
Yeah.
dialogue or a global agenda.
That's true. Because
We have the best instruments. All of them, UN conventions for the rights of persons with disability. The moment you sign, it becomes law to your country. We signed among the first people. We need to implement it to the letter. Have we? I don't know.
I mean, I'm listening to you and, the wisdom that is even oozing out of you. You've been able to achieve all these things, get the education that you need. And that opens my eyes to understand there is actually an extra gift. There's a gift attached because God is a God of compensation. He may not give you everything, but he gives all of us something.
Yes.
And that means that if only we can open our eyes to the possibilities of what it would be if we just literally just a little bit, have this inclusivity going on, have the right education being provided. I mean, the possibilities are endless. We were crying about women, kuelimisha mwanamke ni kama kuelimisha jamii.
Yes.
We see what happened when women were actually educated. So this just opens my eyes to see that there's a whole world of possibilities that could actually be experienced even by our country. And you guys can develop this country to be what it's not even now, to be better on a whole different level. And maybe before we conclude, you can just talk to parents, because I've, interacted. There's a place in Kibera called Edmund Rice, and, they have all these kids who are there. They've been put there by their parents. They don't stay in the house, but then they put them there and they're able to learn a lot of skills. They go through the therapy and all that, and you see just how they've developed to be better individuals. So maybe you can just address the parents who feel ashamed, who feel this is a contagious thing, or are just shy of even bringing out their children. From your own experience, what would you say is that word that you can pass on to them?
Well, a child with disability is not a curse. And I always believe that God has a reason to give you that kind of a child.
That's true.
And even before you ask the question, I know Edmund Rice. I said, this child could be your blessing. This child could be the one that the glory of God will be seen in your family. So you need to take pride in that. Don't hide the child. The moment you discover your child has a problem, take them for assessment. Find out what it is and place them to school. If you have a really, really problem, like the poverty is at another level, don't shy off. Reach out to people.
Yeah.
You see, the church is the best place to go and maybe have this conversation with the pastor to see whether he will come through. But trust me, I'll tell you as a Christian, that is one space you can really be disappointed.
Wow.
They could listen, but sometimes they may fail to act.
Yeah.
We, whom we are in the space where we can help, let's help. Let's stretch our hand. Any parent with a child with disability, mostly they are broken. Do you know, if today you get a child with disability, even our brother here, he will walk away from the wife. This is not us. It's not from my family.
Yeah.
The woman will be blamed. But you, woman, thank God you have this child.
Wow.
Just do the right thing, assessment, take them to school. They are, actually, the special schools are still there.
Yes.
You can take them there, and they will be appreciated.
Yeah, for sure.
I love it when you say that child is your blessing.
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
He is.
It is
He
your
or she is a blessing.
And personally, okay, for me, I had to maneuver and position myself with struggles, with tears and all that.
Yeah.
But they are our people. They are good
Yeah.
people. This world has good people
Wow.
who will walk with you. They're also evil people
Yeah.
who will put you down.
Yeah.
But don't bother about those ones. Later they will see you're still moving on
Yeah.
as they are working towards bringing you down. And you'll never come down. Because if God makes a way,
True.
who else will try and hinder
Yeah.
that? Yeah.
No one.
Yeah.
No one can.
Yeah. No.
Brenda, thank you so much. We can continue with this conversation. Very inspiring.
I said it's a whole day.
I know. I know.
is.
We need a seminar. On the same.
True.
A whole conference.
Yeah, a whole conference.
Yeah, that's very
Yeah.
true.
On the same. But thank
Yeah.
you so much, and even what you have been able to achieve,
Yeah.
and what you are doing as well.
Yeah.
May God continue to grant you that grace and that wisdom. Listening to you, I pray that God will position you in places that you can make decisions, because we need such people in offices.
Sure. Yes.
That decision making is needed. Sober decision making is needed. So thank you so very much, even for accepting the invitation this morning. Thank you so much. Regards back to the family, back to the institution.
Yeah.
And maybe someone who is watching us would want to get in touch with you. Is there a way?
I'm based at Tangaza University, Disability Inclusion Office. I think Tangaza, everybody knows me. At the gate, if you say I'm going to the disability office, they will allow you. But my number, I give my number.
Sure.
0722229642.
All right.
That's my number.
All
You
right.
can reach out, and then we can have this conversation going on.
Okay, so
Yes.
that's 0722229642. Beautiful, and people
Yes.
can definitely
and
reach
and
out.
and,
Yeah.
and what we need to know, disability inclusion is possible.
Yeah.
It's not a problem. It's about removing the barriers. Yes.
It's about removing the barriers. And,
yeah.
For me, my biggest takeaway has been, just supporting that verse, hope deferred makes the heart sick. So for the people even, who have these disabilities, not to defer hope, not to become hopeless, not to lose hope.
Yeah.
You said something very profound. There's light at the end of the tunnel, and we have to move towards the light because the light is there, and there's this backing that God gives you. There's the grace. The grace is sufficient. If you believe, you're not a mistake. God created you intentionally, created you, and that means you have a purpose in this world. And guess what? You have compensation attached to that condition that you have, meaning that God will favor you, He will elevate you and put you in places where other people cannot even step into. So I think this has been a word of encouragement to so many people, and even for, me, myself, just that positive attitude, that attitude of gratitude and looking at what you have as opposed to what you don't have. Indeed, that is it's like a vehicle through life that keeps you going. So thank you, Brenda, for coming through, for being a blessing to us. And, may God continue to bless you and showing off with you. And may His goodness always be evident in your life.
Amen. Thank you.
Yes.
And thank you as well for tuning in to the show this morning. That has been the One Day at a Time segment. I know you are blessed. I know you are encouraged as well, inspired as well. So thank you so much for your company. God willing, we do this again tomorrow morning, same time, same place. Being a Wednesday, it's a Christian Walk segment. Looking forward to tomorrow's edition. Wishing you also a fruitful day ahead. Take care of yourself. Take care of the people around you as well. The planned demonstration. So make sure you are keeping yourself, safe, so that nothing bad happens to you. And we pray that nothing bad will happen even to our nation in this season that we find ourselves in. My name is George Gishoro. Kwaheri for now.
And my name is Beatrice Nudi. Tutaonana kesho on the Christian Walk. Bye-bye.